ambitions were and our goals were, we want to get promoted.
The managers were quite confident this year that they'd have a group that was capable of doing it.
Winning the league and with 4 or 5 games to go, it's been a great achievement. We've showed big character this year.
This has become the greatest season in the club's history since 1992-93.
Cheshure's at the end of the Met Line. It's the last station on the Met Line in Buckinghamshire.
It's a countryside town. It's a town that's right for having a football club.
Been a supporter for many a year. Oh, my father had a football trial down here in 1954. I didn't know anything about it because obviously I was very much too young to be involved in it, but he always mentioned Cheshire there, and Cheshire was a town that, living in a village, you visited at least every weekend, and we had a local paper that always covered Cheshire United in great detail and depth.
Going back to my background, when I stopped playing football in the early 70s, it was through injury. I thought I needed to give something back to the game.
I got involved in the club because as a youngster, as a 9-10-year-old I guess, I was able to come down to games with my friends. We'd cycle down on our bikes, watch the match, sometimes get to talk to the players afterwards, and we got a little bit engrossed in that side of it, if you like. I think it was a replay for an FA Cup game in about 1982 or something like that. Someone suggested to me, why don't you have to be a ball boy? So I became a ball boy. If you like, that was my first involvement with the club.
I was then headhunted by the chairman of Cheshire United, it was then David Pembroke. Cheshire had a fantastic season in 92-93 by winning the Isthmian Premier title, and the next step for them then was to actually go straight into the National League, or the Alliance League I think it was then, a stopgap between the Football League and non-league football.
68 will always be remembered as the year Cheshire United reached the final of the Amateur Cup.
The club achieved the greatness of winning the Level 2 of non-league football to go into the Vauxhall Conference as it was, or the Panorama National League.
Everything at the Garden was rosy. It was superb. We were going along great guns and winning everything.
But unfortunately the ground grading wasn't good enough for the club to qualify for it. The stadia needed better seating and better toilet facilities, and it was too expensive for the club to afford at the time.
We had a fantastic year, celebrated, but it very quickly fell off a cliff on the back of that, and I think that kind of highlights the non-league football story. When someone comes along throwing this money at you, can have a few glorious years in that, but then very quickly fall off a cliff.
We've fluctuated between that level and dropping down a couple of levels, been into administration a couple of times, a couple of rescue missions have happened to save the club. The club then needed a stable footpath to go forward.
One day the chairman grabbed hold of me and said, you've got a lot to say, why don't you join the board and see what it's really like? And that's what I did, and I spent 13 years on the board. I like to think a lot of things I did help to change, but a lot of things I realised you can't change.
Oh, the club regularly were into financial problems. As was regular in non-league football, you see it all the time every season. When the rich benefactors, all the money runs out, you have to manage money properly.
Behind the scenes, we were really struggling, but on the pitch, we were doing quite well. So as a chairman, you stand there, watch everyone get excited. Yeah, go on, we might get promoted this year. And behind the scenes, we're going, I don't know how I'm going to play these players next week. Yeah, we were just a tick-along club, if you like.
I was asked then to come along and did I want to have the major shareholding for paying off the debts for the club, which I did. Taking fruition 2010, the time we did the deal.
When I stood down as chairman, I stood down as chairman because I'd had 2 years of living and breathing the nightmare of the finances and really struggling, because I'm a supporter who's never been one to put money in. There's never the intention I'd end up with a divorce if I thought of that, even if I did have the money to do it. Roger and Peter sort of came along as business people that wanted to get involved in the club.
You know, we needed a chairman for obviously taking this club further forward.
This is where my job stops.
Yeah.
That line.
What happens over there is up to who's in that box there. We do everything we do behind the scene so that what happens on the scene, because this is what the football club's all about. It's playing on the green stuff. I first became involved in the club in 2015.
Talk to me about that 5-year plan.
It was a 5-year plan of self-sufficiency, total self-sufficiency without anyone having to put money into the club.
The football club is a business and it's got to wipe its face. It's got to make money.
The best way to get best crowd is to have a successful football team, good football. The best way to get good, successful football is to pay players a reasonable wage.
Sometimes you have to speculate to accumulate. So that means, better players.
I joined Chesham 2018 in October. Obviously, I've always been quite a big character, a bit of a leader in what I do.
We had to get, someone to run the bar.
Well, straight down the lens, like the lens.
Oh, I love football. I love non-league football, I have to say. Since I've worked here, I've become a lot more passionate about it. I loved it here, loved the supporters, got very maternal and motherly about everybody. I'll have another confession here. I started supporting Chelsea when I was 12 because I fancied Kerry Dixon. So that happened.
JD and Muzzer was manager at Potter's Bar, and for me it was a really tough decision because obviously we just got promoted, really enjoying it there. In and around playoffs, Cheshire were rock bottom, but obviously I had belief in JD and Muzzer. Obviously asked me to be skipper as well, so I like a challenge. So yeah, hence why I jumped on board. Yeah, this is old man's corner. It's funny when the new boys come in and they put their bags in, and I just pick their bag up and I'll throw it in and they'll say, off you go. And then they normally make their way over there. Kieran Murph, Rolfie, Alex, Owen Casey, myself, Uppy, Tosh, Jack Connors, Callum, Calder German is at the end. Tosh goes out for internationals.
Who does he play for?
Virgin Islands, I think. Yeah, I think he scored on his last outing, and he missed a pen. Under JD and Muzzer, they've always been big on being hard to beat. Like I say, it's a tough place to come. We've got a good record here, and we're very much don't get beat at home.
I've always said, if I could get the passion out of the supporters and the commitment and the loyalty that I had when I was chairman, with not the money they put in, but it's that financial safety net that they brought with the club. If we could gel those two together, the club would be perfect. And I think that's probably what they've achieved in the last 2 years.
The spring of 2020 won't be remembered for the glorious weather in the UK. It'll be remembered for a nation in lockdown. All over the UK, people are coping with a fundamental change to their daily lives.
Yeah. COVID was a tricky one.
It was a very different Britain that woke up this morning. Normally busy roads were hushed as most people acted.
Oh yes. That hit us, and they made an announcement on the Wednesday to say COVID was going to go into lockdown on the Saturday, no supporters.
We were going toe to toe with Truro.
I think we were second in the league at the time. To have the brakes put on you like that is a real no-no.
It was tough. It was tough from the age of 5 to 31. But that's all I've known is football.
The world's most popular sport, football, another to suffer the effects of the pandemic.
It was really touch and go, it was devastating financially.
No gate money, no income.
We don't have the money. We rely on volunteers so heavily, and we rely on sponsors.
Because you still had bills to pay, regular bills, your gas, your electric, and everything that goes with it.
Football means no fans.
We were locked shut, solid, finished.
I think it gave the club a real good opportunity to hit the reset button.
Loads of volunteers into the ground, painting the ground, cleaning the ground, doing everything so that when we did start playing again, the stadium was fit for them to come back into.
The role of the club within the community of Chesham was probably enhanced, even though we weren't providing the football that we were.
COVID showed everybody how we all can get together, and people did great things.
Communicating regularly with supporters on a weekly basis, we're encouraging supporters to look out for each other.
Peter did a very good job.
I think that's probably the thing that creates sleepless nights. You are responsible for keeping the club afloat. You don't realise when you just stand on the terrace how hard that is, how close to the brink the club can go sometimes. I think when he reflects on it over time, you think actually that was a good chance to reset, and we got things right then.
Well, the challenges are commercial all the time. You need the right people in the right slots. You go out of your way to look for those people.
I'm Greg Davis. Welcome to Taskmaster. The answer to the question, who's Greg throwing chicken at? It's
The first thing that comes to mind when I hear the word non-league football, it is, to my shame, beer. My name is Alex Horne. I am, weirdly, on the board here at Chesham United. I've supported Chesham for the last, I'd say 15 years. It's the first time I've been proud of being a football fan. The chairman, Peter, is a very persuasive businessman, quick thinker. I've done a few Taskmaster events here. I've filmed some of the show here, and we did an event where we had 3,000 people doing tasks here. And Peter came along and straight away said, right, I want you on the board, because that's what we want at this club. We want more and more people coming through the gates, not just for football, for all sorts of events. Literally, I had to be signed up by the FA, I had to sign my life away. And I still don't know really what it means. I think it's bad if it all goes wrong here.
Alex has been brilliant for the club because, and again, it's that whole thing of you can have someone come along, throw money on the table, say, I'm going to transform your club, I'm going to get you promoted. And they probably will do that, but 2 years later, they've got bored, they've gone, you're facing relegation, your worst position you started. So Alex has come in as a supporter, so he's a genuine supporter whose kids play at the youth level.
Hail model. Get the away kit. I have a strange role where I think my role is to promote the club and try to expand the brand. The shirts is mainly a way of shifting more and more shirts. There's the away kit with Taskmaster on.
And over the years we've sold maybe 30, 40 replica shirts in a season. It's well over 1,000 this year.
Oh my God, I think that for the first time, again, I've seen so many shirts all the time. I've lived in Chesham 31 years. I've never seen so many shirts.
1,000% more than the previous season.
On social media, we've got Alex Horne tweeting about football matches, a bit better than the 300-400 followers we've got we're tweeting to.
Taskmaster has a lot of international fans, and so lots of them now support the club. They tweet pictures of themselves wearing the shirts around the world. On the stands now, you'll see tons of kids and grown-ups all with the Taskmaster Chesham shirt. So not only does it bring money in, but it also brings this proper atmosphere now. We see people on the high street with Chesham shirts, which we've never really seen before.
What would it mean to win his last home game?
I mean, it would be great, wouldn't it? Bracknell. We want to beat Bracknell. They're a bit of a nemesis for us. They've always proved a little tricky.
One of the things I learnt when I was chairman, someone said, you can never stand still as a football club.
Do you think we'll stay up?
Yes, definitely.
My hero when I became chairman was to read Graham Taylor's book, and I've read it quite a few times. And he's often said they're not fans, they're supporters. They're the people that are really at the bottom of your building, of your foundations, that will help you survive.
You get supporters that are there when it's tonking it down with rain, you're under pressure, they're there, they've done the job.
Within non-league football, the team is just not on the pitch, it's everywhere.
But there are 30,000 people in the town, so we could have, we could fill this place several times over, and we don't, because I think people are just realising how good the football can be here. I do know that the promotion has really lifted the place and given everyone a spring in their step. I've got 3 kids at schools here. The kids support Chesham now rather than Barcelona. And that is a really brilliant thing.
Goals for next season as a team, just compete, do what we do best, compete, and I'm sure we will.
Mid-table maybe would be amazing. Anywhere above that would be astounding, and if we won it again, well, I might stay another year.
Yes, we've gone up a league, playing the highest level we've played for a long time. But that doesn't mean we've reached our peak. We're in a really good position now to start building on again. This is the first time in 20 odd years, I think it is, that we've had 2 successive home gates of over 1,000 people. That goes to show the appetite's there.
People of Chesham and the environs of Chesham is to come down here, because you'll never ever regret a trip to the Meadow.
We're going into a dark tunnel with a light at the end of it, and so let's hope it's nice and bright.
We are the Cheshire, the mighty, mighty Cheshire, the mighty, mighty Cheshire. We are the army, we are the army, and never before me, never before me.
Sad into the box for Cheshire. Spins one towards the far stick, and what a finish.
Come on.
Now face Lincoln City.
It's Lincoln who are going to go through 4-0.
And it's one of those new opportunity here through Nathan Minnes, and he struck it will be the equaliser.
At the football club, we've achieved some real good achievement.
The Generals have had a fantastic debut campaign in National League South, sitting 12th on the table with the potential of a playoff push to close the season.